What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today. Last week was Bardstown Bourbon Company Week. This week is Barrell Bourbon Week. We have barrel number 34. We're also going to do Dovetail this week, and if we're lucky, maybe we'll compare barrel 34 to barrel 33 and see which one we like better. But for today, let's just stick with the 34. Let's pour this up and see how it is. Now, if you haven't heard about barrel 34, it's been out for a little while now, and it's gotten great reviews so far, so let's see how it does this week on Bourbon of the Week. We changed things up just a little bit. Go check back on last week's videos to see what we're doing, but everybody knows before we get started on all of that, time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. Spicy. So here we go, barrel 33. Now it says right on here, this is aged 6 years, but that's kind of a misconception. The reason that it says aged 6 years on here is because that's the youngest whiskey that's in here. They have 6-year-old whiskey in here, they have 8-year-old whiskey in here, 10-year-old as well as 15-year-old whiskey in this. Again, this is batch number 34. If you care, it's bottle number 30,512, and it's coming in at 114.62 proof. That's cask strength. Now, if you don't know what Barrell does, basically they're the blender behind some of the whiskeys that you probably know about, although we don't know exactly who they're sourcing from. This particular bottle is distilled in Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee. We don't know if this is Dickel. We don't know if this is Jack Daniels. I'm assuming Indiana is going to be MGP or Ross and Squibb, and then Kentucky, we obviously don't have any idea as well. But this bottle right here coming in at 114.62 proof. We're going to start with drinkability, and that's a great segue. Let's get into it. Now here's the deal, and I'm probably only saying this because we're coming off of Bardstown Bourbon Week, but on the side of the Bardstown label, it tells you the distillate, it tells you the age, and it tells you the mash bill. I wish they would give us a little bit more information, right? The Kentucky is the 15-year-old, and here's a mash bill. The Indiana is a 10-year-old, and here's the mash bill. Something just to give me an idea of how much rye I'm supposed to have in this. Is there any wheat in this? Is this 4 grain? I don't know anything like that. I will say there is a lot of spice on this, obviously at 114.62 proof. Is that what it is? 0.62, just making sure. This is going to give us a little bit of an ethanol kick, but I don't know if this is all rye spice or if this is actually ethanol. It's just a tough thing to call without knowing exactly what's in this bottle, but let's take another sip. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, and I'm not going to tell you that this sip's super easy. For almost 115 proof, it definitely has a kick to it, although I do think there is a lot of spice influence on this, which kind of sometimes factors into that ethanol kick. I will say, we give it an 8.0 if it drinks right at its proof. I think it's right around an 8. I don't think it's anything overwhelming where it's higher than the proof, but I've had some barrel products before that are 115, 120 proof that drink under that proof, and this isn't one of them. This is one of those that's in your face, it's forward with the ethanol kick, but it's not overwhelming. I'm going to give this pretty close to an 8. Let's try it one more time. We're going to go right under an 8, actually. Again, I don't think it's anything outlandish, but at the end of the day, if I were to blind this bottle right here, I'd probably say like 120, maybe even like 125. So let's go like a 7.52 when it comes to drinkability on this. The question is, does it make up for it when it comes to taste? And spoiler alert, I think it does. So while I did mention at the beginning of the video that they don't give us an exact mash bill or which blend is which, they do give us a little bit more information than I led on to. I will say this, I wrote it down because there's no way I was going to remember this. They tell us the 8-year-old barrels, which are driven by strong hazelnut and dark cherry notes, mingle with high corn barrels with flavors of brown butter and apricot for a few months before adding high rye barrels. So we do know there's high rye barrels in this. That's going to give us cinnamon and allspice. Then finally, the 10 and 15-year-old whiskey is added for earthiness and light tannins. And I gotta tell you, if I didn't read that, I would have put those exact flavor profiles in this bottle right here because I get all of the things that they were talking about in that description. Now, people before, I watch plenty of reviews online, talk about a cola influence that they sometimes get on whiskey. I've never truly experienced that personally until this glass right here. Mix that concept with that cherry influence that they're talking about on those 8-year-old barrels, and I feel like I get cherry cola on this. It might be in my mind. I don't know if I love it, hate it, or if I'm indifferent, but then you get that high rye, you get those cinnamons, you get those spices. Then you go into the end of this, which is very robust. It's a long finish. It's aromatic. I never truly used the nose to really experience whiskey. That's why I don't do a nosing category, but I feel like for this one, I absolutely do that, and it's something that I, again, am kind of adjusting to, but it's something that gives this glass just a little bit more of an experience than actually just drinking whiskey, and it's pretty damn good. So we know this is a cask strength, and it's one of those things I didn't always used to appreciate cask strength whiskey. It definitely took a long time to get used to this higher proof stuff. And if you're not there yet, keep trying. Keep working your way up through the 80 proofs, the 90 proofs, hit 100 proof bottled and bond stuff. And then what I would recommend you do, go out and try some cask strength stuff and then go back to the stuff that you're drinking at 80 and 90 proof, and you'll kind of see a substantial difference on how much easier that 90 proof stuff is now to drink when it used to taste like fire. Next to this, it's going to really open up and give you more of those flavors. But this glass right here, it's bold, it's full bodied, it's robust. The flavor profile is delicious. While there is a little bit of an ethanol kick when it comes to drinkability, it's nothing outlandish. Let's take one more sip and give this a score on taste. I did mention at the beginning of the video that I might do a comparison video with Barrell 33 versus Barrell 34 this week, and whether I film it or not and put it on YouTube, I can guarantee you that I will personally be doing that, because this glass right here, taste-wise, is absolutely fantastic. I don't really know anything about this glass that I don't like. Again, taking drinkability, taking that ethanol kick out of the equation because we're focusing strictly on taste here, this has got to be, if not in the 9s, very close to a 9. I got to do one more sip. I hate to keep you waiting, but we need that last taste on our tongue. We're cracking the 9s. 9.12 when it comes to taste on this glass. If you've had this bottle and you like it, let me know in the comment section below what you like so much about it, because I like everything about it when it comes to taste. 9.12. Let's get into price on this though next. I decided to pour a little bit more up as we get into price on this, and price on this bottle is $84.99. Now let's talk about something right now. I've been in the whiskey community for about 4 years now. My first experience with Barrell was Barrell New Year's 2021. That was the first time I heard about Barrell. That was the first time I had Barrell. From my understanding, Barrell basically put out some big heavy hitters and everybody fell in love with it. Then for a little while, I can't name batches, but they had a few batches that weren't as good as what they were previously putting out. That was up until barrel number 33, batch number 33, which I have and I plan to compare. And batch number 34 is another heavy hitter. So are they back in the game? I would say so. 2 for 2 in their last 2 batches. I hope they can keep up this momentum. Everybody loves Barrell as a company. They take some of the best barrels from some of the best sourcing in the world. Then they barrel it at cask strength. They bottle it at cask strength. They blend it damn near perfectly, and this is what we have right here. $84.99. We could talk about some other bottles. I think Booker's is overpriced at $90, but this bottle, I can't be mad at it. I would buy another one at $90. One more sip and we'll give it a score. So I will say $85 to $90 is definitely a tough ask when it comes to a bottle of whiskey. We asked before, what's your cutoff point when it comes to whiskey? If you see a bottle on the shelf, is it $100? Is it $150? Are you never buying anything over $75? Me, it's different because I'm running a YouTube channel, but I could understand when you have a budget and you don't want to go out and buy every single bottle of bourbon like I have to for the YouTube channel, you kind of start to set limits for yourself. I would say though, if you see this bottle sitting on your shelf at $84.99 plus tax, I would tell you to pick it up. I would be able to put my reputation saying, if you didn't like this, then maybe it's just not for you. But at the end of the day, this is something that I think anybody who's drinking whiskey at this proof point and likes the bourbon flavor profile will like this bottle of whiskey. I can almost guarantee it. If you don't like this batch, let me know in the comment section below what you do not like about it. But for $90, or I should say $85, I'm going to give this a pretty good score when it comes to price. One more sip. If we're going to say that a 7.0 is average, obviously C's get degrees, right? That's how we all graduated college. I'm going to say 8.12 on this glass right here. I'm going to say that this bottle is an easy pickup at $84.99. If you don't like it, let me know why. I got to keep moving though. Let's get to this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week. For this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week, we're going to keep it pretty short. We've talked about Barrell plenty before. We're going to talk about them again tomorrow and then maybe again the next day. So we got to keep some information rolling for you. But we're going to talk about Joe Beatrice. We've talked about him before. He's the owner, the founder of Barrell Bourbon. And from my understanding, I couldn't really confirm nor deny this. I reached out to a couple of people. They didn't really know. But from my understanding, basically Joe Beatrice was just a regular guy like you and me who loved whiskey, got some people to invest in this idea of, hey, I'm going to go blend my own whiskey. Do you want to support me? Got a couple of investors with some deep pockets and decided I'm going to open up my own whiskey brand. So you can add Joe Beatrice to the list with Dixon Dedman and Steve Nally as 3 people that I would love to sit down and talk to, not only about whiskey, but the business side of it as well. Apparently Beatrice had some money in his pocket from an investor, with a lot of it actually, who he told no to because they didn't really see his vision and didn't really see eye to eye. I can respect that. It's the same thing Dixon Dedman did when it came to Kentucky Owl. They wanted to put his name on some products that he wasn't really ready to put his name on. So with that, if we didn't have somebody with such high standards, we might not have Barrell 34 that we have today. So appreciate you, Joe. Let's get back and tell you the score on this. Hey, if you haven't clicked that like or subscribe button, make sure you do that right now. This bottle came in at an 8.25. In 2023, we're going to make it a little bit harder to really hit those 9s, but I also want to give you some reference points. So we'll start to get some other whiskey on there, maybe in the 5s, the 3s, the 0s, if we have any mellow corn sitting around. But at an 8.25, a fantastic spot for this bottle. Appreciate you stopping by and watching this video today. But hey, make sure you tune in tomorrow to see where Dovetail falls, and make sure you tune in the next day because I can almost promise you that we're going to compare this to barrel number 33, which we have right here. In the meantime, make sure you check me out on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. Go click that follow button over there. Check out our Patreon page and our Discord, both those links in the description below. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly and stay healthy, stay happy, stay drinking. Cheers, y'all. Oh, I don't know who wins.